Hey guys, and welcome back. If you are just joining us, I'll catch you up. Last week I called in one of the pros to help me with a recipe, my mother-in-law or other mom. This week my mom is taking over. Now she was concerned that this wasn't exactly a healthy recipe, but I reminded her it's all about balance. I mean, who doesn't run to eat, am I right? Anyway, before we get started, I want to tell you how my mom has contributed to my running journey. Now, even though my mom could probably still smoke me in a foot race, don't deny it, Mom, we all know it's true. She has slowed down to do some training runs and even a couple of races with me. And when she isn't running with me, she is cheering me on. Isn't she the best? Can't wait for you to put me through my paces again soon, Mom. But until then, let's see what you got for us.
Hello, I'm Meredith's mom. Meredith asked me if I would do a video making a family favorite recipe for you. One of everyone's favorite recipe that I make is a coconut pound cake. Now, a co-worker that I worked with at a chiropractor's office in Odessa gave me this recipe, and my husband's a pastor, and so we've moved around a lot. And during all our moves, I have made this coconut pound cake for so many gatherings and occasions, and every time I make it, everyone always loves it. And it's one of Danny's favorites. The best part about this recipe for me is that you make it with one bowl. You mess up one bowl and you put it in a tube pan. And that's basically it. There's not a lot of dishes to clean up. The worst part about the recipe is it takes an hour to cook. So you have to have an hour of time. But other than that, it's simple, it's good, and it's easy to clean up after. So here goes. First thing you do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees, which I've done. Oh, and Meredith gave me this shirt, so I thought I'd wear it in honor of her today and all her marathon running. So like I said, you bake this cake in a tube pan. And what you need to do is do it the old-fashioned way, grease and flour the tube pan. That's also not a very fun part because you get your hands all greasy. But it's not too bad. Just another excuse in these COVID-19 days to wash your hands one more time and get them good and clean and sanitary, and also to give you a little moisturizer, because I don't know about you, but for me, I've washed my hands so many times during all this pandemic that my hands are really dry. So if you need a good moisturizer, get out your Crisco and grease and flour a cake pan. All right, so just shake that around a little bit. Always do this first and get that done and out of the way so that when I'm ready to pour the ingredients in, it's all ready. And I give it a good healthy coat of shortening and flour so that it won't stick. And it usually doesn't. It's usually good. Then, like I said, the best part about this cake is you mix all the ingredients in one bowl. So get you a big bowl, and the first thing you're going to need is 2 cups of sugar. Get the handy dandy mixing cup. Also, a good thing about this recipe is you don't have to be exact. So amateur bakers like me have no problem with it. Then you put in 2 cups of flour. 1. For all you people who have kids at home, this is a good math lesson. you can teach them about measuring and measurements while you're cooking. So 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of flour, a cup of oil, and 5 eggs. Hopefully you can get eggs during all this pandemic. I have been able to at the grocery store throughout, so hopefully you will be able to as well. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Even though it's 1 bowl and it says just mix it all together, I a lot of times kind of mix a little as I go. It helps to be a little easier to mix, but you don't have to. Then you need 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. So 1½ Then 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of milk. You can use any kind of milk. It doesn't have to be whole milk or 2%, whatever you would like. And then this is the one ingredient that sometimes I have to make sure I have on hand because it's not something that I keep, and that's coconut extract. So you can find it in your spice section. And the cake requires a teaspoon of coconut extract. And then we're going to make an icing. The icing also takes a teaspoon of coconut extract. And the icing you will drizzle over later and heat in a pan. So usually when I'm making this, I just go ahead and measure out the coconut extract into a small saucepan and get it ready to make the icing. You put on the icing after you make the cake. Then the cake needs a tablespoon of vanilla. And then the recipe calls for a can of coconut. Now, they used to make coconut in a can. They don't anymore that I've seen, but they do have bags. So I just put a generous portion for a 14-ounce bag, which this is. I put about 1/3 of the bag in. Again, you don't have to be exact on this. It turns out good every time. So just use your judgment. You'll be fine. So mix all of that together then. When you put the coconut flakes in there, and this is what that looks like. It's kind of a yellowish color, not real thick, not real thin. Then you take your ingredients and pour it into your greased and floured tube pan. This is not one of those cakes that you generally let someone lick the bowl on. Just kind of shake it all around and kind of get it level. Once you've done that, you put it in your preheated 350 oven and bake for 1 hour. Alexa, set the timer for 1 hour. I like using Alexa because then she tells me when it's all done. After the cake bakes, you're going to put like a glaze on the cake. The glaze is made up of your 1 teaspoon of coconut extract that I put in there a while ago, 1/2 cup of water, 1/4 cup of butter, and I do like to use butter instead of margarine because it's just a little less watery. So I just usually get stick butter. They make it very easy by putting measurements on your stick so you can measure out 1/4 cup easily. That's good for us amateurs. We don't have to measure. And another cup of sugar. Now, like I said, I usually put this in the saucepan ahead of time while my cake is baking. It's fine just sitting there. Once the cake is complete, I'll show you what to do. So my cake has been baking for 1 hour. And I'm going to start my glaze for the cake. In my small saucepan, I have the coconut extract, the butter, the sugar, and the water. And you just heat it until it comes to a boil. You can go ahead and take your cake out of the oven. And as you can see, it's a nice golden brown, which it should be. Now what you're gonna do is take a fork and poke holes in the cake. Voila, a dingle hopper. And just poke holes. And you can as well take a knife and kind of go around the edges of the cake in case it did stick, although we did a great job of greasing and flouring this, and around the middle. And just set it aside. We're gonna wait for our glaze, for the butter to melt, and for it to come to a boil. Okay, so once your icing has come to a boil, and it doesn't have to come to a rapid boil, just where the butter is melted, then you just take that glaze and you pour it over the warm cake. All of that glaze will soak into the cake, and then you just let that set until it cools. Then once it cools, you can take it out of the pan. Then all that's left is the enjoying. It's been a lot of fun to make this recipe with you. Thank you all for supporting and watching Meredith on her videos. We love her, and I know you do too. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.
Aw, I think she made my day. Also, look Mom, we match. That is all for now. I hope you enjoyed these special editions of Recipes for Runners, and that you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Until next time, please like, comment with your favorite family recipe, subscribe, and ring the bell 2 times for notifications. Bye, guys. Hey, Mom. Love you mostest.